Child, I got so much to share with you guys. Yes, boo boo. Hello my dears, and welcome to my channel in 2018. And no, this is not my new backdrop. This is actually the backdrop for my second channel, which I just happened to finish recording a video for. So if you guys are into Japanese street fashion and would like some lifestyle and health advice from me, yeah mama, please check out my second channel, Liji Love Reviews. The links to that channel are down there in the description box below, guys. So on to this video. You guys are always asking me, how did I develop my art style for my published series, Sacred? You're always asking me things like, when did you start drawing? How did you learn to draw? And how did I improve my artwork? So I thought, what better way to share all this information with my YouTube babies than to actually show you guys my really old artwork from when I was a little kid up until now. But not just that, guys. I'm also going to be recreating an old illustration. Now this piece is super special because I created this piece at around the time I made the conscious decision to actually study art on my own and improve my skills. You guys are so hard on yourselves. Developing your style is not the most important thing, and it does not come quickly. It's not something that you should even rush. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, it takes patience, practice, and lots of love. And if you're feeling really negatively about your art style, you're not going to enjoy your journey as an artist, and it's going to be a very miserable experience for you. So the reason why I am making this video is to share my experience as an artist, share my art journey with you guys, and I really hope that hearing my story and my journey will help you guys, and you'll become more patient with yourself, and that you'll actually enjoy your journey. Without further ado, let's get started. According to my mom and family, I've been drawing since I was 18 months old. Yes, 18 months old. My grandma, God rest her soul, used to have to hide her money and bills from me because if she didn't, I'd draw all over them, girl. Like, my mother would play artistic games with me to feed my creativity. She'd teach me how to draw houses and farm animals using simple shape, and she'd draw a scribble and ask me to create a drawing using the scribble as a base. At around this time, I was now 5 years old. I drew every day, and my aunt would complain that I was obsessed with art. So here's some of my illustrations. See, I was absolutely not the best artist in the world, but I loved doing it. And my teachers were very supportive. Thank goodness. Here's a scary wolf, a tree with a hippo climbing it. I don't know what's going on, but I like it. As you can see, I drew like a normal little kid would, but what made me and my art stand out from the other kids in my class was my level of dedication and borderline obsession with drawing. By the time I was in the 2nd and 3rd grade, my art had improved even more, and I was asked to paint the backdrops for school plays and was asked to draw a farewell card for our school principal when he left our school. This little comic strip that I made about me and my friend Cynthia. I was really into doing stuff like this about my everyday life, and I don't even know how I got into making little comics because I didn't even read comics. I don't know where that came from. By this age, I would spend 2 to 3 hours drawing every day after doing my homework, of course. I remember one of my early report cards from I think it was my kindergarten teacher or my 1st grade teacher. My mother still has it put away. It literally says in the little comment box on the report card, it says, Lizbeth is going to be an illustrator, a writer, or both. And she was completely right. I make comics for a living. I draw my favorite cartoon characters from movies and TV shows that I loved, and I draw the detailed, beautiful images from old storybooks that my grandma owned. At this age, I became more and more concentrated on anatomy and details. I'd focus on rendering every brick on a building, every weave in a straw hat, every scale on a snake, everything, girl. And by the time I got to the 5th grade, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs was my jam. Don't even talk to me about anything else. Dinosaurs were life. Dinosaurs were bae. I drew them all the time, focus on all the details of their scales and musculature. I loved learning about them. I even wanted to be a paleontologist for a while. And if you're curious, my favorite dinos, Velociraptor, followed by the Paralophosaurus. And my teacher, Mr. Terzo, to this day, one of my favorite teachers of all time, gave me my first drawing pad. He gave me pencils and everything, and all he wanted in return was for me to draw 2 velociraptors side by side looking at a sunset. And I did draw that for him. I hope he still has that drawing. Oh, God bless him. I hope he's doing well. I love you, Mr. Terzo. When I was 11 years old, I started junior high school and began to endure the hardest 3 years of my life. The bullying I experienced was so severe. Kids told me no one would care if I died. I was called many derogatory terms that the LGBTQ kids hear all the time, and was followed through the halls as they made fun of my weight. So much more was done than that, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I even fractured my leg in a fight against a group of boys who tried to jump me in the halls. Life was just a living hell for me at this time, but they couldn't crush my spirit. I had God, my loving family, and art to escape to. And even though I was a victim of bullying, I would always defend other kids who were also being bullied in my school. I've always stood up for others, and I've always hated seeing others being mistreated. During this time was when I discovered anime, which brought me hours of happiness, inspiration, and an escape from my bullies. Because of anime, my path in life was forever changed. As dramatic as it sounds, it's the truth, guys. This time in my life will be the time I look back at and realize that I became an author whose work is sold in the manga section of stores, okay, because of the animes I discovered in junior high. And when I met Krillin's voice actor, Sunny Straight, who reads my manga by the way, I thanked him for his awesome work in DBZ. You can hear all about that story in this video. At this age, I aspired to draw just like Akira Toriyama, creator of Dragon Ball Z. And like all kids, I admired an artist and wanted to be just like them. I think all kids go through this phase, and I even created my own fan characters. In the 7th and 8th grade, I drew a lot from life, drawing baskets of fruits, trees, people, and everything around me just for the sake of learning something. And when I was ready to sign up for high school, I wanted to audition for a specialized art high school in New York City. And I actually made it into both of the specialized high schools I applied for both singing and for illustration. Yes, girl! This was around the time I created the drawing that I'm recreating in this video. I was beginning to feel really limited by trying to mimic another artist, and as I grew, I realized that just because I loved Akira Toriyama's art and looked up to him, that I didn't need to draw like him. And from then on, I stopped looking at other people's art for reference and focused on my own art and sharpening my skills. And that September, I started high school at a specialized art school in New York City. Now, something that I learned about going to an art high school, which I also discovered is the same thing about art college, is they don't teach you anything in art school. You teach yourself everything. They don't teach you a single thing. Surprise! All art school does is introduce you to new supplies, maybe teach you a little art history, and give you assignments that are meant to help you experiment and discover new skills. There's no such thing as teaching someone to become a good artist. That's 100% up to the student. I didn't go to art school thinking someone would actually teach me anything. I just wanted to be surrounded by what I loved, and I wanted to be surrounded by people who loved drawing. But you know what was the best part about art school? We had 2 hours of art every day. You needed to be self-motivated and know how to study art on your own in order to improve and reach your potential. No school on earth can teach that. And thankfully, I had always been very self-motivated and was driven by my love of art and the need to be able to draw the ideas in my head. I would draw anything and everything around me just for the sake of learning something. I remember sitting in front of the mirror Indian style in one of my like really goth raver skirts, and I loved the folds, so I drew just the skirt, just the folds, so that I could study folds and the shadows. I would often look through like clothing magazines that my aunt owned, and I would draw the robes and such so that I can study the fabrics and the shadows. I just really wanted to master fabrics, and I often went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, one of the most amazing places to go as an artist. Everything you can want, girl. It was so inspiring to me and still is very inspiring to me. So I know that anime and classical art, especially Renaissance art and old French paintings, were very, very influential in my art. So by the time I got to high school, my art began to look like this, where there was very dramatic, there was big wide compositions to show off architecture, and I became known in my high school for creating artwork like this. By the time I was in high school, I was always asking my cousins to pose for me when I needed reference for a pose. If their clothing looked really cool, I would ask them to please stay still so that I can draw the folds on their clothing, and they were always super excited about it and would actually argue with each other to be my model. I'd use my own hand as reference, take photos of my face to be able to use it as reference. I was constantly trying to master anatomy, perspective, proportions, and shading. But I was not only drawing anime, I was also asking my boyfriend and my cousins to pose for me for paintings. And one of the first paintings my boyfriend, now fiance, actually posed for me for was this one. I made this one when I was in the 11th grade. I was really into hands and crinkly old paper and shading, as you can tell, and he posed for me. Remember how earlier I said it's natural for kids to copy other people's art to be able to learn how to draw? I feel the same thing applies with paintings, okay? There's what they call study drawings and study paintings, which means you're recreating someone's artwork not so that you can mimic their style and copy their style and do copyright infringement type things. A study of someone's art, you have to actually look at the painting, think about what color they applied first and how they layered things. Again, this is not so that you can copy someone else's style or copy someone else's art. These are things you keep to yourself privately. You don't post them, you don't make money off of them. They're just so that you can learn. And I created lots of studies in school. Not because they were projects, but because I wanted to, because I'm a self-driven individual. So I actually recreated this painting when I was in the 11th grade. The eyes are a little off, but this really taught me about layering paint, what colors to apply first. I did the same thing with a painting by Vermeer. This one I did in oils. I finished it literally in 3 days. I added a chemical called Japan Dryer. Japan Dryer helps your oil paints dry way faster. And this really helped me figure out layering and how Vermeer created his paintings. I did change the face a little bit so it looks more like me. The original face looked kind of like Marilyn Manson. Right? Doesn't that look just like Marilyn Manson? It was so much fun. I would never sell this and make money off of it. I would never post it online and be like, look at my original painting. This is a study. This is just for my own self, for my own benefits as an artist. And then in high school, I also took nude model drawing, which became super useful for me as a comic book artist. You have a lot of pages to do, girl. You can't take that long, okay, drawing that leg. You gotta do it fast. High school is also where I met my fiance, and ever since we met, we've been each other's best friends, each other's biggest supporters, and biggest inspirations, and we've helped each other grow so much as artists. Could never ask for a better partner in life. I love you, darling. The more my skills improved, the more my own style began to peek through and show itself in all of my artwork. It happened gradually, it happened with lots of patience and lots of hard work, but developing a style was never my main goal. My main goal was always, and always has been and always will be, to sharpen my skills and be a better technical artist. We all need to improve. Girl, I'm a published author. My work is sold in stores worldwide. I still need to improve, and I love that, okay? I love that I still need to practice. I love that I still have a way to go as an artist, and I'm still learning every day. there's no shame in that. That should be exciting for you, that you can improve and become this even more amazing artist in the future. That's exciting. That's not a limitation, and that shouldn't hold you back and make you feel bad about yourself, okay guys? So if you don't have a style right now, don't worry, you will have a style one day. Do not limit yourself by creating a style so early in your artistic career, okay guys? Were you the school artist when you were a kid, or did you pick up art a little bit later in life? Let me know, I'm so curious. So until next time guys, please take care, God bless, and do not be afraid to nerd out. Take care guys, and have fun!